In 1996, Ford built 829 of these bright tangerine orange Mustang GTs. This color was only offered on the GT. There were no Cobras produced in this color, there were no V6 Mustangs produced in this color, and of all these cars, only 51 of them came with black leather seats. We're going to talk today specifically about two of these cars. But these are not to be confused with the Bondurant Racing School cars. These are some pictures of the Bondurant cars. They were white and painted orange for racing. A lot of them were Cobras, and even this is one of the 94s, so the GT. But the two Mustangs I want to talk about today that were bright tangerine orange are cars that I knew. The first one I don't have any pictures of. It was a bright tangerine 5-speed black cloth interior GT, and it looked just like this car here. It had the same flat wheels, not the polished wheels, but the flat colored wheels. And this car looks just like it, with the exception that this one has black stripes on the bottom of the doors, the K-code style ones. The one that I knew had these C-stripe, specific C-stripes and hood stripes on it that look like these. So these are called C-stripes, and the one that I knew had them going all the way to the wheel well in the front, but it looked just like that. The C-stripes were black, so it was an orange car with black C-stripes, and it even had some hood stripes that were a little bit weird. I can't even remember what they looked like, but that's all I remember about this specific car. And I remember seeing this car parked just a few blocks away from me. The guy who had it said that the stripes were dealer installed or something like that, so I don't know where they came from, but it made it quite a specific car. I was actually on my local Mustang Facebook page, and somebody had posted a picture of this Mustang GT. It looks like a 96 as well, and it was up in northern Utah, and it had the same stripes. And now I actually do remember it had the one across the back there by the third brake light. So whatever dealership installed those, maybe it was the same dealership that that orange one was from, or maybe a dealer didn't install that. I can't remember what the guy actually told me, but that's what the car looked like. Those were the stripes that it had on it. So it was really interesting to see another one of that generation with those stripes. I'm going to show some pictures of this car real quick as I talk about the one that I'm talking about, just so you have an idea of what the car looks like and everything. But this car, real quick, had only 4,000 miles on it and was for sale recently on Facebook for like $10,000. And a lot of people gave them crap for the price and everything, but it was really low mileage. A lot of people were saying, well, they're not that collectible, everything like that. But pay attention to this 4,000 mile car, because another one I'll be talking about in a few minutes is quite the opposite. Okay, so back to the story about the car that I personally knew, the one we're talking about here. The guy was really interesting. He was renting a house down this, a couple blocks away, and I would see the car parked outside, and it was on the way to town. So every time our family went somewhere, we would see it, and I would be like, man, that's such a cool looking car, especially since it was bright orange, and this was the fall. And it just seemed like a good Halloween fall color, and I just really liked the car. So one day I noticed that the car had a for sale sign on it, and my brother and I went and talked to the guy, and he was pretty cool. He was kind of funny to talk to. He said, yeah, I've had this car up to 150 miles an hour. I hit a bridge, going over a bridge where it had just this slight increase, and the whole car lifted, almost caught air with it, and he had all these stories of how fast the car was. And it's kind of funny because the car made 215 horsepower. It wasn't that fast, but you also have to remember that back then cars didn't make a whole lot of power. But to me it seemed like a really fast car. I had a 97 Mustang V6 at the time that made 150 horsepower, so looking at a GT like this, I was quite envious of it because I didn't have anything that powerful. But anyway, I remember looking at the car, and it had like 75,000 miles on it, and the guy was selling it for like $8,000, and that was a lot of money for me back then. And my V6 was 5,000, and so it was quite a bit difference. And anyway, I remember him telling me that the rear wheels were missing the hubcaps on the back on each side. And he said that he came out from the mall one day and somebody had stolen them, the back center caps. So I thought that was really interesting. But I would see this car parked, a few blocks away, and we'd drive by it all the time. And every time I saw it, I really liked it. And I thought, orange is such a cool color. I really like orange. So the car was either sold or the guy moved away, but whatever happened, the car was gone and I didn't see it anymore. So years later, in 2008, my wife and I were just married and we had an apartment across town, and we were going to our apartment one night, and parked on the side of the road was this GT, parked in front of someone's house. It had the stripes, the C stripes on it, the missing back hubcaps. I was certain it was the same car. But now it had Nevada plates on it. And we live real close to the Arizona and Nevada border here, so there's a good chance that somebody in one of the smaller towns or even Las Vegas had bought the car and that they had moved and they were visiting back, or I don't know what the story was. But I saw the car there and I thought, oh cool, I'll just have to ask those people who owns it now. But I never really got around to it, and I don't think those people live in that house anymore because it was more of a rental area. So since then, I've never seen the car again. I've always kept an eye out on Craigslist and Facebook classifieds to see if it ever pops up, but I don't know whatever became of that car. I even asked on the SN95 Facebook page if anybody has any information about it or had seen it, and I had 0 replies on that. Then a couple years later, I saw this bright tangerine orange Mustang GT at the lake. There was a chance that this was the same car, maybe repainted, and they added the SVO Shinoda style side skirts with the exhaust exit and the bigger side scoops. It had some interior paintwork done to it. But whatever it was, it looked to me to be a bright tangerine orange Mustang GT. I know a lot of people have painted their cars orange like this, the other Mustangs, so that could be a possibility as well. But I saw this and I couldn't help but stop and take a picture of it. I was so excited to see another one of these cars because they really are quite rare, and there's a good chance that a lot of people will never see one of these. I also did have a friend who had one of these cars that I had met on Instagram, and I was able to go see his car when I went down to Las Vegas Motor Speedway at the drag strip with the Bullet one evening. So really cool to see another one in person. But there really aren't very many of these, and especially finding a nice condition one is difficult. And speaking of nice condition and these cars, I really want to share a little bit about this car. This is my friend. He's in California. We met on Instagram. Look at his mileage on his bright tangerine orange GT. 471,000 miles he has. He has almost 500,000 miles on his car. And look how nice this car is for the mileage. This shows that if you take care of it, it really can go a long time and be in great condition. He's on the original engine and everything, and I just really wanted to share a little bit in this video about this car. Maybe I'll even make another video about it later, because he's at almost 500,000 miles on this car, and it's beautiful. So I started searching for bright tangerine orange GTs. Like I said, I usually do this in the fall because it reminds me of when I first started seeing these cars around, and there's another convertible one I'll be talking about. But anyway, I searched around and I found his page, and we became friends really quick. And I really love this car, and I can't believe how many miles are on it. It's such an awesome car. So I just wanted to put that in there, and I'll talk about another one right here. There is a video on YouTube by a guy named Competition Orange 04, and he had this 96 GT in bright tangerine orange, and it was one that was really well taken care of. I like that he added the Saline style, Shinoda style rear spoiler, and I liked watching this video because it was really the only time I could see this bright tangerine orange Mustang. The internet is really fun because you get to see cars, and you can see a lot of things that you wouldn't normally see. And anyway, this is a really cool car, and I liked watching the videos. I think it's really cool. He had the Boss Shinoda stripes on there, and I wanted to touch on the Boss thing for just a second. in '94, Ford had a little competition with GM, and they each built a car for a drag race competition, and Ford built this '94 Mustang. You could tell it was black if you look in the fender wells, so it wasn't this orange color originally, but they called it the Boss Mustang, and it had a Boss 429 engine that was punched out to 10 liters, and the car was extremely fast. It was built for drag racing. They were able to get it to do 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds and 0 to 100 in 5.5. It did the quarter mile in 10 seconds, and so it was a really fast car. And so this was kind of an early stage of what a lot of people did with their bright tangerine orange Mustangs, because Larry Shinoda did kind of a modification thing where you could buy Shinoda Mustangs in the 94 to 98 era, and you can have them made to look like this. And they had different packages. They had a stage 1, a stage 2, and anyway, I'll talk more about that on another video and give that all that more credit. But as you can see, there were some bright tangerine orange Mustangs that people were taking and putting the Shinoda stuff on them. Larry Shinoda helped a lot with the Corvette. He helped with the original Boss Mustang, and so he decided to come back and try to make some Shinoda version Mustangs. It's kind of like Shelby, I guess, but I don't think they really took off. I don't think they're that collectible. I like them a lot. I think they're really cool, but bright tangerine orange Mustangs in general, even though they're very rare, they don't bring in a lot of money. The Terminator Cobras and the Shelbys and the newer Mustangs have become the sought-after cars as far as the late model Mustangs are concerned. But I really like them. I really like the look of this orange. As a matter of fact, recently I tried to buy one of these cars that somebody had put the stripes on, so it looked kind of like this one here. And it was in California. It was pretty run down. It was leaking oil all over the place. It had quite a bit of problems. It had some body damage, scuffed bumper, and dented quarter panel, so it would have needed some paint and body work done to it and everything. But they're cool cars, and I think they're really neat. A car doesn't have to cost a lot of money or be sought after in other people's opinions to be special to somebody, and that's why I like these cars. To me, they're very special, even though the popular opinion might not like the SN95 Mustangs very much, or other people say they're not worth much or whatever. I still like them. So thanks for watching. This was a video about a special car that meant a lot to me. I used to see it when I was younger. I really wanted to have the car one day. I've tried to buy one like it, just didn't work out. But thanks for watching the video. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you like this content and you like watching these Mustang videos, and there are more of them coming.